This is False Start, a college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm your host, John Buhler, lead writer, fanside.com. I'm joined today by a man who will get showered, will occasionally put on a blue blazer, but when he fills himself with quarters, he's only going to a Renza parking lot. Cody Williams, content director, fanside.com. Hey, Bubba, how are you?
Dude, Vane's just coursing with Skyline Chili right now. We're feeling great today. Happy to be here. Happy to be getting a pod with you in this week because you're gonna be missing the 4th of July show. So that, I'll be solo like a cup and I'll be missing you thinking about patriotism and things of that nature.
I know you're a patriotism expert, and,
That's
and, and so,
right.
but yeah, this is my last show before I take some PTO. I'm gonna go to Athens to see a Band of Horses. We'll probably do a jail in with that at some point.
Hell yeah.
But for the 4th of July, let's go with the national. Let's go with some a nice Skyline Chili and Merlot concoction, which can only be described as Cincinnati and New York in one.
I just had this thought. We need to do Band of Horses whenever we go to SMU with Antonio.
No doubt, that's coming next.
Yes, sir.
But obviously we false started here. So our first in 15 today is going to be, you missed your mark. Apparently the Big 12 has decided that, you know what? We're not going to do a preseason poll after the Arizona State debacle. Arizona State was picked to finish last, and they went 10-2, won the league, and then nearly won the Peach Bowl after a 3-9 season. So I know in the past the Big Ten doesn't do one either. Like the
Mhm.
poll that we use is based off of what I think USA does, but have some damn courage. My league does it, your league does it. This pisses me off.
I'm somewhere in between because my first instinct is I get it because like it's indicative of what the Big 12 is to me, where like you're gonna look like an ass most of the time because it's really hard to predict what's gonna happen in the Big 12. Now, granted, you're not gonna have every year where Arizona State is picked last and wins the league. Like that's not gonna happen that often, but like it is the Big 12. S gets weird there. Like I understand that part of it, but I am with you in like we're in the content business, and from the content business point of view, it's not that we just want to write about the Big 12 media poll. It's more that we want to like, or the Big 12, preseason poll. We want to like, we want people to stick your necks out. Like we do it every single day that we're on this job. Why doesn't anyone else, why is everyone else afraid to do this in the Big 12? I don't get it.
No, me neither. And like I've been thinking about this for a while. Maybe you've been thinking the same thoughts. Like I don't think we're going to see the same season in the Big 12 like we did a year ago. Like the fact that like Oklahoma State and Utah were that bad and Kansas was that bad for the first half, like that kind of feels like an anomaly, even in a new
Yeah.
league.
No, 100%. And like based off of what happened with Oklahoma State last year and based off of like the kind of vibes around Oklahoma State right now, I feel like they're probably a driving force and part of this decision because they would probably be picked near the bottom of the poll, but it's Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State, and that's just when they surprise you and go 9-3 or 10-2. And so like they had a chance to be this year's Arizona State had we done this poll.
For sure. And like in the new Big 12, the teams that are probably driving the bus more in terms of brand equity more than anything are Oklahoma State and Kansas State. They've been the
Mhm.
most
Yeah.
successful program probably over the last 25 years or so. K-State was a little bit down. Oklahoma State was as down as they've ever been.
Yes, 100%. I mean, your coach got a concussion from getting headbutted by a cow, brother. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's Mike Gundy, but like, even for Mike Gundy, that's a wild one.
I mean, most teams would go 0-9 in conference play with a 27-year-old quarterback in Alabama, but this is false start.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, like, age is just a number unless you're playing quarterback, in which case it's a very important number.
I don't know. I might have driven over the limit about 100 million times in my life.
Yeah, just a number, man. Don't worry about it.
It's a number only if you get caught. This is false start, but
That's right. I don't know what I blew because I didn't have to, brother.
no, I didn't have to. It didn't happen. None of this other stuff ever happened. Speaking of Stillwater, I don't know if you've seen this. Stillwater banned All American Rejects to play in your backyard. Your thoughts about that?
Super hyped about that. Love All American Rejects. Absolute blast from the past. Love to see it. Have you ever seen the festival in Las Vegas called When We Were Young?
Yeah, that was the one they had like I mean, the Green Day had been there, Blink and a
It's like
bunch,
literally any like
Paramore.
all
Yeah,
emo band from like the early to from like the aught
yeah.
or so yeah from the aughts like It's great. It's
Like
phenomenal. I want to go so badly. The only downside is it's in the summer in Vegas, which I'm not too keen on.
Gerard Way might die out there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it can't go on but for so long because at a certain point you're gonna have like 60-year-old Billy Joe Armstrong out there and he might just keel over.
I don't know, 47-year-old Gerard Way. That's a little tough.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Don't live your life that way. But anyway, so if we were to kind of theoretically like take the Big 12 up in clusters, basically like who would if they did a poll, like who would probably be like top quarter for you or bottom quarter for you? Like if you had to do it, just
So just off the top of my head, top quarter, we're going Arizona State, we're going Iowa State, we're going Kansas State. I'm gonna throw Utah in the mix. I'm getting a little high on Utah. Like if I'm making my poll, I'm probably gonna have Utah up there.
yeah, that's I can get with that. If the fourth one's hard, it's got to be
Yeah.
Arizona State, K-State, Iowa State, and then like obviously we weren't going to talk about this, but BYU is certainly pulling back a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if anyone else like actually gets into that mix. Like there's gonna be another team in that mix, but I'm gonna go, you know what? Let's go with another probably 20. I have no idea how old he is. Probably 27-year-old quarterback. Jalen Daniels in Kansas. Kansas will throw in the top with the
Yeah.
upper echelon there.
Yeah, and then like, to what degree do you trust Baylor or Texas Tech or TCU? And that's kind of your top half. Your bottom quarter, that's gonna be UCF, that's gonna
Hmm.
be West Virginia. Um, trying to think who else is good. Arizona.
Arizona for sure. The like kind of the wild card is Colorado. Like
Yeah,
they could be in either quadrant, any quadrant in this, and it wouldn't surprise me.
it wouldn't either. And then like to what degree is like Scott Satterfield gonna get it going in the land of Skyline Chili?
He's not. I can assure you, he's a Satterfield. They don't do that.
uh Vanderlei crybaby cry.
That's right, man. Like it's not. I don't have high hopes for Cincinnati. Let's just put it that way.
No, but I think also part of it, like I wanted to see a poll because like this is the line
Yeah,
of demarcation. This is gonna like for wherever it is, like we're gonna know like how we feel about these teams heading in with the help of this. Because like we may be higher on teams than other people. Like our South Carolina love may get us in trouble.
most likely.
But like the Big 12, it's so jumbled. Like, look, I don't think Arizona State's going to finish last, and I don't think UCF's going to win the Big 12. But last year that happened.
But here's the thing. Like I know we are down on the UCF, and I know that we are down on the Scott Frost hire. But at the same time, if it worked,
Yeah.
it's not out of the question.
No, that could be very good. Like they could be playing in Arlington in 2 years. Like
That's what
that's
I'm saying. Like that I'm like I said at the beginning, like I understand why no one wants to put their name on this because it's like you're gonna look foolish at least once or twice with whatever your poll looks like. But at the end of the day, like you gotta do it. Like it's just
yeah.
you gotta do it.
And you got to put your name on it. You got to do it. You got to pat the dog here with
That's
our
right.
next topic. This will be coming out probably more on Tuesday. All signs point to Texas State
Mhm.
being the ninth school in the Pac-12. Most importantly, the eighth football school because Gonzaga does not have one.
Right.
Every other school outside of Gonzaga has state in their name. I talked about this on a solo show where there are beavers in the San Marcos River, and it was kind of ominous. But this opens up another wave of realignment. A lot of people have been on this, whether that would be Ross Dellinger, Brett McMurphy. I think Pete Thamel's kind of been the most well connected to it. So if Texas State leaves the Sun Belt for the Pac-12, then it's looking like it's either going to be Louisiana Tech or Western Kentucky going to the Sun Belt, and then if they do go to backfill in Conference USA, it's Tarleton State.
Tough. That's not how you want to backfill it, especially when you're CUSA and you're already not in the best of spots, brother. Not what you want to see. I'm on it like this is probably going to be the biggest hot take of the episode, which is a bold thing to say in our second segment with me talking, but
Yes.
I think we should abolish CUSA at this point. Like just like distribute CUSA around the rest of the G5 leagues. I don't care, but like I'm done with CUSA. CUSA is never going to have a spot in the college football playoff. They're not a good enough league for that right now. And like I would rather see G5 leagues like the Sun Belt, like the American, and so on and so forth. I would rather see them be strengthened and like have these programs like get a little more resources from those leagues that are better off right now than I would like have CUSA just kind of like mulling away and be like sub mediocrity at this point. Like you're adding Tarleton State. We've jumped the shark when we're adding Tarleton State.
So like if they split it up, really the only thing keeping it alive is Western Kentucky. And at this point, like
And they might
I,
go like you just said, they might go to the Sun Belt. So if that
Mhm.
happens, like what are we doing?
Yeah, it's a better brand than Law Tech, but Law Tech has regional rivalries with Southern Miss,
Mhm.
ULM,
Right.
things of that nature, Louisiana as well. Like that fits a little bit more. But like I could get there. It could be just a group of four teams.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like I just abolish CUSA. That's where I'm coming down on this, which I'm not sure is what you thought I was going to say when we started this
No,
segment.
no, I thought you were going to be like, I don't give a rat's ass, but this is fine.
Oh no, I care a lot. We're getting rid of CUSA. It's done.
So, but if you split it up, like some go to basically every league is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. Like I'm not saying like don't make like just get rid of D1 programs. Like that's not at all what I want. I want as much college football as possible, but I would rather see these G4 leagues that they would be if we did abolish CUSA. I would rather see them like have more depth to them and
Yeah,
have more competition and stuff like that because like we've seen programs like Jacksonville State and things of that nature. Like we've seen them kind of rise up really quickly. Sam Houston State, I believe, is going to be able to be on that level sooner than rather than later. And like I would rather see them added to someone like the American. Like Sam Houston State and the American, I think would fit quite nicely. And like I think when you start to like work with those machinations a little bit, you get deeper leagues and you get more bites of the apple. And I also think that if the G5 is going to have or G4 in this case, if they're going to have a spot guaranteed in the college football playoff, then it makes sense to me to have deeper, stronger leagues with better competition to determine actually who the best G5 team is. Because I don't want these situations necessarily where you, like we talked about Boise State in the Mountain West earlier, like in a couple shows ago. I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, whenever. But we talked about it, and it's one of those things where like their schedule is pretty manageable. Their schedule is pretty easy if they want to be the best G5 team. And so like you look at it from that lens, if you add a couple more G5 teams from CUSA to the Mountain West, like whoever that may be, maybe it is Sam Houston State. That can make some sense as well. But that's going to add the level of competition for Boise State and for whoever is winning these leagues and going to determine who the actual best G5 team in the league in the country is.
you know what? Screw it. We're gonna do this right now. I'm in the mood. We're gonna put them all in new leagues.
Let's
So,
go. I got to pull it up.
okay, I've got this here. Florida International is gonna go to the whatever FAU is in. That's where they're going.
Isn't FAU in?
I think they're in the American now.
I think that's what I'm thinking, but I'm not.
Yeah.
We're hold on.
Uh,
We're gonna get everything ready to go.
yeah. I'm going through this. So like Florida International needs to go where FAU is. That's
Yeah,
that's how
I
I'm
like
feeling it.
that.
I think Jacksonville State feels very Sun Belt.
Yeah. Oh, Jacksonville State was born for the Sun Belt.
Kennesaw State too. You put them in the same league with Georgia Southern and Georgia State. That makes
I
sense.
like that.
Liberty, American.
Back to independent. Back to independent. That's my goal for Liberty. They're an independent program again.
You hate where you were born, man. That's fine.
It is what it is.
The Law Tech, it seems like they're the front runner. Put them in Western Kentucky, both in the American or Sun Belt. It's fine.
Yeah, either or. I think that works for that.
Middle Tennessee, put them in Western Kentucky in the MAC.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Western Kentucky and the MAC. I can get really get behind that.
You said Sam Houston's feels very American,
American, but I could also be talked into Mountain West. But I think American is more likely.
whereas New Mexico State, UTEP are definitely Mountain West.
Yeah, that's definitely Mountain West. You know what? Yeah, Sam Houston State to the American, put North Texas in the Mountain West.
There we go. We solved it. You're welcome, college football.
That's right. Easy as it could be.
But I guess like the last thing I'll say, just from a Texas State sort of standpoint here, there's two things here. It seems like they were the clear front runner to basically get this. It's like you've got state in your name, you're in a big state like Texas. And this seems like they wanted to move up. And anytime anybody wants to do that, we empower them.
Right.
The one thing I'm concerned with is they're going to be a little geographically isolated. And anytime you do that, you end up like UCF now or West Virginia before. Like it doesn't work out well for you.
I am interested to see how that translates to Texas, though, because that's the like, I understand that Florida is recruiting, a good place to recruit, but at the same time, UCF also did still has a lot of talent. They've just had questionable coaching decisions with the Gus Bus and now Scott Frost.
Right.
And like, we know Texas State's in good hands. We like our boy GJ Kinney quite a bit. And so like he does have a footprint in the Southwest and in Texas as well. And so I do wonder how much it affects them because they are in Texas. Like, yes, you're not going to be able to recruit the Pacific region as well as every other program that you're playing against in this league. And I understand that. They're not going to be able to recruit Texas as well as you are. And so like I feel like that is going to be an interesting thing. Like I'm not saying it's going to work out, but it is something that I have flagged as potentially they might be a little more bulletproof to that than otherwise.
You bring up a great point because this kind of worked for Texas A&M
Yeah,
going to the SEC. Like they
right,
assimilated very quickly culturally. They developed rivals, but they already had one with Arkansas. They developed a good one with LSU, and they fit in much easier than Missouri ever has.
right,
Whereas Missouri is kind of like maybe we should be in the Big Ten with Kansas.
right, 100%. And
And
so you go
and
ahead.
then SMU, like they moved over to the ACC and they played for the league championship, made the playoff here once. So what do I know?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just a Texas thing, man. I don't know what to tell you.
It's bigger and better in Texas,
That's
and
right.
this is false start. And when GJ Kinney was playing quarterback, someone told him, "He's like, that's my quarterback."
Damn right it is.
All right, this is going to be fun. I wrote about this for fanside.com. I believe I wrote about this on Friday. I talked about true freshman quarterbacks who have the best chance of earning like early playing time in 2025. So I'll go through the list real quick. Definitely read the article, and I'll just kind of see what your opinions are. I had California Golden Bears quarterback Jared Huey Sagapulatelli, JKS.
Yeah, jackass. Come on now.
Uh, Al Alabama Crimson Tide quarterback Keelan Russell. Colorado Buffaloes quarterback Julian Juju Lewis. Michigan Wolverines quarterback Bryce Underwood. And at number one, I had Maryland Terrapins quarterback Malik Washington.
So I'm going to start with Malik Washington because I think that's actually like that's a firm number one for me because Mike Locks is coaching for his job, brother, and he ain't going to leave no punches pulled when that's the case. And so I think we could see him before we're out of September if he doesn't start week one.
Yeah, for the record, like our lads basically had the top two guys I had with Malik Washington and Bryce Underwood listed first on their quarterback depth charts. And I think you're absolutely right there with Washington. Blue chip prospect from Severn, Maryland, played at like Archbishop something. So the Maryland Catholic pipeline there.
That's right.
And look, like Locks is coaching for his job. You need to go all in with this guy. If this guy hits, then it's great. Like, look, this guy probably grew up idolizing like Lamar Jackson and just
Right.
for the Ravens and everything like that. Like Maryland has become the new sleeping giant now that Arizona State's awakened because there's so much talent in the DMV, Richmond, wherever you want to go further beyond that, up to
Yeah.
Baltimore, if you will. And you have the Under Armour money with Kevin Plank, and you're in the Big Ten, so you're basically getting that box checked too with revenue coming in. Like it shouldn't be this hard. And I've always said like if Bill O'Brien didn't take Boston College, he'd be like perfect for this job. And
Yeah.
this is why I've also said why Will Stein might take it if Mike Loxley's not there.
And there's a really good chance that he is, but Malik Washington is his best hope of saving that, to be very sure.
Oh yeah, and that's like also a guy that like if it doesn't work for Loxley, you have a chance of retaining him because he's homegrown, and you can build with that. So that's why I had firmly number one. Trying to think what else I had on there that was interesting there.
I mean, we talked about, I don't think we need to exhaust much oxygen when it comes to Bryce Underwood. Like, we know,
No,
like, I think he sees playing time early because I think he's their best chance of reaching their ceiling. He's also like, he has the most variance. Make no mistake about that because he is an 18-year-old quarterback at Michigan. Like, there's
yeah.
variance baked into that. But, like, in terms of upside, no one on that roster is matching what Bryce Underwood brings to the table.
No, like it was very clearly it wasn't Jaden Davis. I forgot that Davis wore and tore his ACL in the bowl game versus Alabama.
Yeah.
But you're bringing up Mikey Keene from Fresno, which I think that basically says we got to get a guy who's challenge for it. So it may be Mikey Keene right away, but like Underwood at some point, like We'll
What does
probably get.
Michigan's schedule look like?
I actually know this off the top of my head because of
Nice.
Shram Moore. So they who do they open with? They open with, it doesn't matter who they open with.
It's the Lobos, to be clear.
Y- yes, New Mexico Lobos, and then they go to Shram Moore's alma mater of Oklahoma,
That's right.
and then he's suspended for 2 games for the Burgers.
Mm.
It's always something with Michigan, so he's not going to be coaching versus the Chippewas in Central Michigan, or in their Big Ten opener versus Nebraska. I think that game is in Lincoln.
So, I mean, it sets up very nicely for Mikey Keene and Bryce Underwood to get plenty of reps against New Mexico because that's not a game where they're going to be scared at all. Like the Bronco Mendenhall School of Survival has moved up north a little bit, and that's going to be a tough one for the Lobos, for the hometown team over here. But I mean, it's a perfect opportunity for Bryce Underwood to like see how he handles game action. Like I'm trying to think. There was someone in recent years who was a college quarterback and like was a highly touted recruit, but he like couldn't crack the starting job to begin the season. And his coaches basically said he's terrible in practice. Like he's not as good as he needs to be in practice. They finally inserted him into a game and he was awesome. And it was just one of those things. I mean,
So
that's a
the
tale as old as time, but there's a recent example I'm totally spacing on right now.
it's the anti Joe Milton. It wasn't
Yes,
JJ.
it wasn't Joe Milton. No.
And I don't think it was JJ McCarthy either. I think no,
No.
no.
I can't for the life of me remember who it was.
It doesn't matter. But like as long as you split the Nebraska and Oklahoma game, I think you're in decent shape with Michigan. So eventually, I do expect Underwood will start probably at least 6 or 7 games this year for them.
I agree completely as well. I'm actually going to throw in a name that you didn't have on your list. Houston Longstreet at USC, just because and this is, there's some personal bias baked into this. Shocker, I know. I'm not the biggest Jaden Maeva fan. I'm just not. I don't think he's anything special. And talk about desperation. Lincoln Riley is desperate for his job. So at a certain point, if you're trying to save your job, you get to week 5 or week 6, and that team is sitting around 500 on the season, you go to the freshman. And so, like, I probably not as early as these 5 guys, but it's going to be a thought or a topic of conversation among USC fans.
Yeah, for sure. Like I thought I liked Maeva a little bit more than you, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're right there. The desperation's there, and that's why I included JKS with Cal because Justin Wilcox has some, and so does DeBoer there, and we'll talk about him a little bit later. Where like, look, if Ty Simpson's just
If Ty Simpson's
I don't
what we
know
saw Ty
Cole,
Simpson be before,
yeah, if he's Cole Stout out there, you got to
yeah,
go
yeah,
somebody
exactly.
else.
Exactly.
And the last one I had there with Julian Lewis, like that's the most interesting one to paint on there because like, look. I think like we've had been up and down with Caden Salter at Liberty. Like he's been great, but like there's also been times where he's disappointed. And you're going up a level. This may be a DeQuan Finn sort of situation where
Yeah.
maybe this isn't your cup of tea, bro. And then you've got Pat Shermer, who's a former NFL head coach. You've got a lot of talent on the staff. It's not going to be Daddy Ball there in Boulder. And you got Juju Lewis to basically flip from USC to come play for you. Like, plus, it's like the Big 12, like college football in Georgia at Big 12, I don't think.
No, I'm right there with you. Like again, another guy I'm not a huge fan of, Caden Salter. Like I think that it's one of those things where he's a fine player. He is not. The DeQuan Finn comparison. Now I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head, quite frankly. Like I think that is very much a realistic possibility for what we could see.
And look, Colorado can't like they got to make a bowl game this year. Like the expectations for them is not to win 9 games. They just don't have
Right.
the high end talent there. But you got to like sustain. You can't just have that 1 year pop thing because then, with Coach Prime being a lightning rod and all, that's not going to work out well for you.
No, 100%. And I mean, like all eyes are going to be on there. And if it goes poorly quickly, Coach Prime, like you said, it's not daddy ball anymore. He's had a quick trigger pulling guys out who he didn't think could cut the mustard.
For sure. And I guess I'll just finish this segment with some thoughts on JKS.
Let's
So
go.
he's from Hawaii. I think he's from the same town that Tua's from, Ua Beach. I think that sounds familiar. It's like suburban Honolulu, I think. If they have
Yeah,
suburbs in Hawaii.
it's the same place. Good job.
Okay, yeah. You've been to Hawaii, so you know things.
I'm also looking at 24/7 sports. Let's be clear. Like, yeah.
That's fair. So he initially committed to Cal, then he flipped to Oregon, and then he like enrolled. And 3 days in, he's like, "No, I'm going back to Cal."
Yeah, can't be doing this. We're not
So
here for this.
so you're missing Fernando Mendoza. He's now at Indiana. You're missing Jaden Zaccott at Oklahoma. I hope people understand that his nickname Zach. It's so great.
It's the best thing in the world.
But
And
then he
it's not derogatory, to be clear. It's just a
no,
really dumb thing that we love.
I thought his name was Zach Ott for like during the preview, and then I'm like, why can't I find this guy? Oh, his name's not Zach. It's Jaden, Jaydn. So that was even
ZACH.
ZAQ.
There we go. There we go.
But the quarterback who's number one on the depth chart for Cal is Devin Brown, who wore a linebacker's number who can't throw the football.
I did not. I don't think I realized he was at Cal. Holy hell. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and put my foot down. I think JKS has a pretty clear runway if he's worth a damn.
No, this like you'll learn how to say his last name. The middle name, I don't think you can do.
No,
QA.
I can't get there, brother.
Yeah.
That's way too many syllables we're working with. A lot of one syllable words we're working with over here.
We don't do contractions. Actually, we do because it's just one syllable now.
Shouts to Bill Belichick, Gio Lopez. That's easy as can be, baby. Drake May, Sam Howell. These are my quarterbacks.
I forget if it's Gunner with an E or with an A. I do. It's in my head every time.
I think it's an E.
I don't know. He lost some
Yeah,
more.
it's an E because I differentiate it. Gunnar Henderson is A. Gunnar Stockton is, I think, an E.
Yeah, it's an A.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. He lost some more hair while we were talking just now.
Hey man, it's hard down there in Athens. You
Yeah.
go give him your best hair transplant guy while you're visiting Band of Horses.
If I could sleep.
That's right.
Your hair's all poofy. Well, it's just Ben Bridwell's neck hair.
That's right. Tate Ratledge gave me some before he left. Where from? His mullet still looks intact. Yeah, it didn't come from his head.
The first time Tate Ratledge heard "No One's Gonna Love You," it just blows my mind. He's like, "This is amazing."
He actually hasn't heard it yet because if he does, he might quit football, and Kirby knew that. So.
He has a tattoo on his collarbone.
That's right.
Oh my God, yeah. Looking forward to Band of Horses. Rosemary knows about 4 songs by them, so that's gonna be great.
Hey, you know what? That's 4 songs she's gonna enjoy the hell out of.
And speaking of 4 songs, we're going to move on to our fourth segment with some. It's getting hot in here. It's going to be hot
Yes,
as hell
sir.
in Athens when I'm up there. So I think Chris Sanders had this pitch out there for .com. Basically, like I kind of had to tone it back a little bit. It's like nobody's going to get fired after week one, but if these significant Power Four coaches lose week one, it's gonna be bad time.
Yeah, 100%. And you want to go through the list before we talk about them?
Yeah. Let's go through that list here. I had Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer at Florida State, so that could be challenging. I've got Utah head coach Kyle Whittingham at UCLA,
Hmm.
LSU head coach Brian Kelly at Clemson. That one's a little different. We'll talk about that for sure. Auburn head coach Hugh Freeze at Baylor, and then the one that I think is a real issue. If Mark Stoops in Kentucky lose at home to Toledo, good night.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, put out the candles. Get it? It's Toledo. Yeah, I'm not worried about that because I don't think Jason Candle's very good, but that's neither here nor
No,
there. That's
no,
one of our
I think
oldest bits is me just hating Jason Candle.
the last bit of the first paragraph under this was like Toledo is one of the better resource programs in the MAC, but they've not made the playoff yet for what are Jason Candle reasons
That's right, man. Burning the candle at both ends, I suppose.
cut it in half, burn it all four
That's
bit.
right.
So which of those coaches like do you think that there's some validity to or intrigues you, or if there's anybody else that you would have added if you would have read this?
I think Hugh Freeze is a really good one because obviously it's been and like this is somewhat unfair and I'm fully acknowledging that, but let's be clear, like it's been a tumultuous offseason with his health issues that he's been dealing
Yeah,
with. And it's a big year for Auburn. Like this would like I maintained through most of last year that Hugh Freeze is not on the hot seat because Auburn hired him to institute his plan. Well, the plan's here. The plan is to have a former 5-star in Jackson Arnold. The plan is to have two, I believe, two 5-star wide receivers starting for you. The plan is to hit the transfer portal hard. Like, this is a year that Auburn needs to be at least 8 wins, if not 9, 10, competing for a playoff spot. And if you start off that season by losing in prime time to Baylor, you're setting yourself up for failure, because we know Auburn fans, when they smell the littlest inkling of blood in the water, they are sharks and they go after it.
Yeah, if you lose, I think it's the day before. It's a Friday night game, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken. Like, if you lose at Baylor, which you certainly could, because we think Baylor is going to be pretty good with Sawyer Robinson and the sensei Dave Aranda. But like, if
that's
you lose
right.
that game, the chances of you beating either Alabama or Georgia at home basically go out the window.
No, 100%. And like, I I don't, like, me personally, I don't think it would be a death knell for Auburn to lose this game, because like you said, Baylor is a good team, and Auburn's going to have plenty more opportunities. It's your first time with this group, like, truly playing a real game together. Like, there's going to be some hiccups here. Like, I understand that. I think everyone understands that. That's why I'm not, like, even me being high on Auburn, I'm not putting Auburn in the college football playoff in most of my projections. You know what I mean? So, like, there's reason for that. But at the same time, I'm not the Auburn fan base, and the Auburn fan base is not going to feel the same way that I am.
I'll say this is the one reason I've not been so high on Auburn, and it's not Hugh Freeze or his health. He's been playing a lot of golf, which I think you can respect, but I don't think
Absolutely love it.
247 does. Jackson Arnold might just suck. Like, I think he might
It's
just be
possible.
awful. But you have Deuce Knight there, who you basically were able to poach away from, I believe, Notre Dame
Yeah,
throughout the recruiting process.
right.
Like, if like I still have memories. It was back when you were like, I think you were going to a wedding back when it was the Oklahoma Tennessee game, and then Jackson
Mhm.
Arnold just looked pitiful. Like, he looked more pitiful than like Kyle McCord with Ohio State versus Indiana and the pass rush. It was just like, oh no. Oh no. And it was, I cannot get that out of my head. And because like when I see somebody for the first time in that situation, and I get somebody in conference play, like it's very difficult for me to like get that out of my mind.
And completely fair. I mean, I didn't want to turn this into bashing Oklahoma, but I do think some of those issues were Oklahoma based.
That's fair. We'll see. Like, I feel like John Batir like is just too good to like basically sake that.
Well, I mean, they also overhauled the offensive staff too.
Yeah.
So, like, I like, to be clear, the guys who I'm being highly critical of for Oklahoma problems are no longer there for
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah, what's the Seth Luttrell song from the National?
I need my girl, because he's just like ripping a heater, like crying to himself. You had it right there.
Well, it's not Brainy. I'll
No,
tell you
it's
that
not.
much.
It's definitely not.
Maybe it's Sorrow. Sorrow found me when he was
There we
young.
go. There we go. I mean, honestly, he's just banging the national out like crazy, because it's sad boy summer for Seth Luttrell.
I know. He probably thinks he's Matt Berringer at this point.
He really does.
He tries to pull himself off as one of the Dessner twins. It's like you don't look anything like them.
I'm the third brother, I swear.
You're like a good foot taller than them, bro. You don't look Eastern Jewish European at all with a unibrow and big ears. I'm sorry. It's not working. Maybe you're a Devendorf. Maybe that's what you are.
That's right. That's right. 100%.
Uh, it blew my mind that you're like a big fan of the Nationals. That made me really excited here. So I'm gonna look at like the DeBoer one is kind of like if you lose to Mike Norvell at Florida State, which is I'm not there's a non-zero chance that happens.
Yeah.
If you do lose that game when Thomas Castellanos has been talking all that smack, when Ty Simpson just looks like he's just redcoating it, like
Mhm.
that could be again. It's the same thing with Auburn, like blood's in the water.
And I think that the last point you made is the most critical, because I think it really comes down to Ty Simpson. Because if you go into that game and you, with Ty Simpson as your starter, which is the seems to be the expectation as of right now, if you go into that game with Ty Simpson as the starter and you just S the bed against Florida State, a team that won 2 games last year, I don't care about what Florida State's done. Alabama fans are going to see you lost to a team that won 2 games last year, and that's all they're going to see. And if it's with because of Ty Simpson, if Ty Simpson is a big part of that, then how is an Alabama fan going to trust Kalen DeBoer as an offensive guru and offensive mind ever again? Because you clearly set yourself up for failure in a game that, yes, it's a non-zero chance that Florida State wins this game, but it is a very small chance, or should be.
I mean, I think Malzahn's a better OC than Ryan Grubb.
Yeah.
He's overqualified, but it's also got to the point with DeBoer, with all the cooks in the kitchen. I'm like, what are you actually doing, bro?
Yeah, what is it you say you do here? Because I'm not quite sure.
As far as I know, it's still Linguist and Womack are your co-DCs. You've got Grubb in, and you still have Sheridan and Shepard on staff. So, like, what's going on, dude?
Brother, the coaches meeting, like, that can't be happening like the biggest of rooms. So now it's like ultra crowded in there.
I haven't like gotten your take on like the Alabama quarterback situation. Like, who do you want to start like week one between like Simpson, Mack, and Russell? Like, how are you kind of feeling about this? Like, what's kind of your where are you leaning right now in a Jan 2025?
To me, I'm starting Keelan Russell because there's two things that made me think about it. One, I've seen Ty Simpson play and it was not very good. And I'm not like looking forward to what that means for Alabama. With Austin Mack, the fact that Ty Simpson is beating him out is not good. And then on top of that, that was DeBoer's hand-picked guy. Like that's the guy he brought with him from Washington. And I also feel like there is a sense with Austin Mack right now that he's not beating out Ty Simpson in the spring. And when that's happening, it feels like DeBoer is almost scared to pull the trigger because of what I just said about Ty Simpson. Like his evaluation of quarterback and his offensive mind is his calling card. And if he brought in the wrong quarterback with Austin Mack, if that's the guy, his guy is the wrong one they brought in, that's also bad for him. So I think in terms of self-preservation, if Keelan Russell goes out there and he struggles, you can at least say, the kid's 18 years old. We're trying to develop him for the future. You're at least biding some time. I also think he just has the highest upside of any of those three players.
I would agree he's at the highest upside. He's also young, and I think honestly Ryan Grubb's driving the bus. He's like, we're gonna put Simpson out there until he fails, and they'll put Russell in there.
You're gonna
That's my
they're gonna run the damn ball is what they're gonna do, brother.
yeah. They're gonna jam with some jam.
That's right.
Jam, jammy, jammy.
You just
Um,
got jammed.
with Whittingham, I'm like, look, if you can't beat UCLA, which I think a team that we have a lot of respect for how they play under Deshaun Foster, like you're losing to a team that's like, the sissy blue shirts of the world, and you're the former team in the Pac-12 South where like we eat gravel and you lose.
Mhm.
Then at that point, like you got to give the program to either Morgan Scalley, maybe Andy Ludwig. It's kind of like, and then I think what Whittingham's 65, like he can retire if he wants to now.
Yeah, and I mean he said that he's not coaching for past is it 2027 he's not coaching past, I believe is what he said, or 2026. One of the two.
Yeah, because he's like, we're not going to play Miami in Arlington. Like I'm going to be gone by then.
Yeah, and so like I do think that it won't like Whittingham is also in his own category in this because it's not going to be like a coup by any stretch of the imagination. It's going to be like, hey, buddy, don't you think it might be time? Like, don't you think it's time that just hand the keys to the car over? Like, we take away your license, like that type of deal.
Yeah, we're gonna put you on this plane with Swoop the Hawk,
That's
and we're gonna give you a golden parachute, and you're gonna jump off the off this building. Okay, but before I get to Brian Kelly, I got to share this. So, talking off air, I was at my mom's house, and we're like going through the attic and stuff, basically, figuring out like the old things from like me and my sister, like K through 12. What can we keep? What can we get rid of?
right.
Threw out a lot of like report cards and stuff as a kid. That's basically what I did.
Oh
But
yeah.
I came across a photo of me as like a 5 or 6 year old at the Omni in Atlanta, and I've got Harry the Hawk putting his mouth on my head.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
There's also a picture of me with my head through like on Craig Elo's body.
Love that. I love that. Dude, so my when I went home a couple weeks ago, or it was about a month ago now, time flying. But I was talking to my mom and she was like, "Do you remember when you were like 5 or 6 years old?" And I do remember this vividly. I won an Asheville Tourist raffle, which is the minor league team in Asheville. And I got to go out to lunch with two of the players in the tourist, and like as a 5 or 6 year old, I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Now I'm looking back at it, and I'm like, these dudes are making like 30 grand a year, and like may probably didn't ever sniff the majors, and I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world.
Who are they affiliate for now? They were at the Rockies for a while.
They were the Rockies for my entire childhood. I think it's the Astros now, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay, that'd make sense and everything. Like I used to go to Chattanooga, watch the Lookouts. That was the Reds double A affiliate.
Yeah. And now the Sox, like that's what sparked the conversation. The Sox affiliate is in Greenville, and so we went and watched the Greenville Drive play.
Okay, yeah, because Greenville was the used to be I think double A, I think for the Braves for a long day.
Yeah,
Greenville Braves, the G Braves.
that's right. Now it's the is it, who's Double A?
The Braves of Columbus Clingstones.
I forgot about. I would not have pulled Columbus from anywhere.
You know, a Clingstone's basically a peach. That's what it is.
Yeah, you know. Hey, the Gwinnett Stripers though, that like the Stripers, that slaps. Those uniforms and the branding, those slap.
And then Sigley, the Rome Emperors, it's a penguin.
I knew that because actually when I went and saw Greenville play, they were playing the Rome Emperors. So
And then the Augusta Green Jackets is the other one.
truly one of the best minor league names out there.
I was in the Green Jackets and I was in eighth grade. That was my hat in rec league baseball.
Hell yeah. Love that.
That was the coach Castellanos, the guy who would wear the Punisher shirt and play AC/DC in his car. It's like, hit the ball, Johnny.
What a guy.
Legend. He used
He
to
would be a green jacket.
he did like he installed like it's home systems for like people that play for the Falcons. He was
Hell
loaded.
yes. Love that.
Love that. But anyway, speaking of not loving that, let's look at Brian Kelly here. I have him at 3. If you lose to Clemson in the battle for Death Valley, my thing is like it's the potential straw that breaks the camel's back because it's like, okay, yet another year you start the year out 0-1. You have Garrett Nussmeier. And then the doubts kind of creeps in. It's like maybe Klubnik is just better. Maybe Klubnik's the first overall pick.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like when you think about the LSU fan base and LSU boosters and like people who support that program, they fired Ed Ogeron, a coach who
Yeah.
won them a national championship. Brian Kelly hadn't won them jack. And so like if it looks like if we go into this game and like all credit in the world to Brian Kelly for like not scheduling cupcakes. Like dude goes out there and he gets a marquee game for his program, tries to make a statement. He hasn't made that statement yet, but hell yeah, he's trying to. And but if you go out there, it's gonna feel like same old, same old. And it wasn't necessarily hot seat last year, but there was some worries about same old with Brian Kelly last year. And so like if that continues, if we're still having the fan base talking that in that sort of tone, that's not going to most likely not going to end well for Brian Kelly. I'm not saying he's going to get fired if they lose this game, but that conversation is going to be had.
Well, you lose a non-conference game, and this year for LSU, I'm not saying it's playoff or bust, but it's about there.
I mean,
You,
like, let's be clear. It's the 12 team playoff. And like at a certain point, like that does make it easier to get into the playoff than it has ever been. Like it's the second year of the 12 team playoff. You came up just short last year. Now's the time you got to get it done.
I would say of anybody beyond Georgia and Texas in the SEC, they probably have the highest ceiling, maybe just
Yeah.
edging out Alabama because they've got Nussmeier, but it's like make it happen. And then this is last year was supposed to be the Brian Kelly pop year. It didn't go off, and
Yeah. The defense
then
was still Swiss cheese.
it's a far cry from LSU back in the day. They didn't have no offense. They got no
No,
defense.
we're old enough to remember the Matt Flynn, the Zach Mettenbergers of the world where like, dude, you completed a 10-yard pass. My God, you're going to the league.
Jordan Jefferson.
Oh my God. He could not complete the 10-yard pass. That was not in his arsenal.
No wonder his brother's so good. His brother's like, I'll catch everything because my brother can't throw anything.
Playing in the backyard really trained me to be able to make circus grabs.
It'd be like that sometimes. And sometimes I wonder what they would eat during Thanksgiving. I think they had a slice of pumpkin pie.
That's right, baby.
Wrote about this for fanside.com. You edited this. This is a fantabulous post that went up live on, I think, on Saturday.
Yes, sir.
I picked the late round gem on each NFL team that I think is most likely to succeed. And for this exercise, I basically went with day 3 picks. 4 may have been a little bit too high, but like I'm just going for range here to make sure I got anybody else on here. I'm not going to read all 32 because
Yeah, we don't need that.
just which ones on here did you like?
I mean, one that I'm obviously gonna like and that you knew I was gonna like, Quinn Ewers for the Miami Dolphins, seventh round pick.
Yeah.
But like his competition in the Miami Dolphins quarterback room is Tua, who cannot stay healthy, and Zach Wilson, who is not good at football. So like I think he's gonna start the season as QB2. I think that there's a really good chance, based on recent history, that Tua gets injured, and then you insert Quinn Ewers into a situation that is advantageous. Like I know that people are down on the Dolphins, and for good reason, based on like letting down over the past couple of years. But let's be clear, Mike McDaniel still a very good offensive mind. Quinn Ewers and a Mike McDaniel offense, not that dissimilar for what he was running with Sark, especially with the athletes they have on that offense. Like I think Quinn Ewers is set up not only to potentially have an easy path to playing, but to have success as well.
Well, like Tua's like one play away from like Bobby Ray, basically at this point.
Got the
Rest in peace.
got the concussion counter up there on the scoreboard.
I think what Ron Lester passed away like 9 years ago, like this week. I think I saw that on
Yeah,
Twitter.
yeah.
It'd be like that. And then also, Zach Wilson just I don't even he should go get his NBA award with Josh Rosen at this point.
Yeah, like I mean legitimately like I feel like Zach Wilson is trying to do what Sam Darnold did. That's truly
Yeah.
what it feels like. But you went to Mike McDaniel and not Kyle Shanahan, and that's your problem.
Yeah. So Quinn Ewers was an easy one to put on there. The Dolphins have had such a weird offseason. It's hard.
It's
It's
weird.
the
Drafting Kenneth Grant, like we like Kenneth Grant a lot as a player. I understand the logic behind the pick to replace Christian Wilkins. Not exactly sure that's what they needed.
no, no, outside of Shamar Stewart, that may be my least favorite first round pick.
Yeah, well, Shamar Stewart, get your money, brother. Who
I
could have
don't
seen this coming when you're coming from Texas A&M?
no 1.5 sacks, dude. 1.5, you get 1.5 stacks, 1.5 million. Even with your guy Tyler Booker, it's like there's like okay, opportunity, go be the next Zach Martin. It's like maybe a bit of
Oh
a
yeah,
reach, but like the pathway for that to happen is not insurmountable.
no, 100%. And like, I hated it because you're drafting a guard at 12, but like, that's not an indictment of Tyler Booker. Like, Tyler Booker is going to be a good player for the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, cool.
Yes. And one of my favorite drafts here, I love what the Chargers did. They got Kyle Kennard in the fourth round out of South Carolina. That's a
Yeah.
steal, dude. That's not even fair.
No, I mean, like, Kyle Kennard working with Jim Harbaugh, like, that's not cool. I don't want that. Like, he's going to create him into like a psycho killer. Like, it's not going to be fun for any opposing offense at all.
No, it's basically like a less chilled version of Joey Bosa, who's just the most chill person ever.
That's right. And then you have Nick, who is also the least chill person of all time.
Yeah. I had Chargers take, man. Like I don't see it with Justin Herbert. I never have and I never will. I think it's just he just has no dog. It's like when he gets sacked or tackled, he seems like he's just like whatever about it. Whereas Trevor Lawrence kind of hates it, but he's still like he can't carry a team. I just feel like Herbert's gonna be like, at this point, dude, can you do something?
Yeah, no, so it's funny you brought up Trevor Lawrence as a comp because I was on Stacking the Box last week with Sterling Holmes, and we kind of had a little we redrafted the 2021 draft, and I fought for including Trevor Lawrence inside the top 10. We only did the top 10 picks, and I was like, Trevor Lawrence is still very talented. Trevor Lawrence is still a good football player. You do probably need good, like better players around him, which they have done a good job of acquiring talent there. But let's not act like Trevor Lawrence has walked into the situation with the best coaching in the entire world. Like Urban Meyer was his head coach in the NFL. That's not exactly getting yourself off on good footing. And then you had Doug Peterson, who I think like is a fraud at this point in his career. Like it worked a decade ago, it doesn't work now. And like Trevor Lawrence is going to be okay. Justin Herbert, yes, some of the coaching has been suspect, but you still didn't get it done under Jim Harbaugh. And if there's one thing I know about Jim Harbaugh, it's that he's a damn good football coach.
You lost to Jacksonville in like the worst playoff collapse of all time.
Correct. To Trevor Lawrence.
And that kid was playing in the pool. Jags are down like by 35 points. And this kid's like, I'm in the pool, man.
Dude, best time of his life. I respect it.
All right, you pick one more and I'll pick one more and we'll get on to what we actually really want to do.
So I really, and this is a pick I was high on at the time. Jalen Royals going to the Chiefs. Man, like it feels like we were going into last season looking at the Chiefs, talking about like, man, are we sure about this wide receiver group? Like, are we sure Xavier Worthy? And now we're a year later and we're like, holy hell, the Chiefs have a lot of weapons, man. Rashee Rice is going to be healthy again. Xavier Worthy looked pretty damn good as a rookie. Marquise Brown wasn't healthy, but we know what Marquise Brown is capable of. And now you get a guy in Jalen Royals who I would have taken in the top 75, and they got him at 133. Like, that feels like, oh, and Juju Smith-Schuster's still there, isn't he? Like, good God. Like, I think he's not going to put up big numbers because he's probably the fourth or fifth wide receiver on the depth chart. But I guarantee you he's going to have a moment in a game because stop me, like I know I'm speaking out of turn. The Chiefs are going to be good again. And
Yeah.
like when the Chiefs are good again, he's going to have a big moment, whether it's in a regular season game that means something or a playoff game that means something.
Look, with the Chiefs, with Brett Veach, who I think is the second best general manager in football behind Howie Roseman, like if I trust, like if they're gonna get some guy like in the defensive line or wide receiver, like even in the secondary, like it's gonna work. I don't trust them at offensive line or running back for the most part.
No, not
But like,
particularly.
I'm usually not a big like small school guy in this sort of situation because like you got to overcome this. Whereas like these bigger names, like okay, we know about them, we know what they can do, so you really got to prove it. But like Mahomes' receiving core is kind of hit or miss at this point. Like I don't think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to go. I'm really high on Baltimore this year
Yeah.
for that's I'm going to be all in on Baltimore this year. And then if they don't make the playoffs, never going to Super Bowl, they're never going to. That's kind of
Yeah.
what But like with Royals, this is a name that's come across. I'm like, okay, this is going to work. Particularly like the Josh Simmons pick in the first round. Like this isn't going to work.
I I mean if his knee is structurally sound, which is not a guarantee at this point, it might work. But as of right now, we don't know that that's the case.
Were you able to pick Sterling's brain about Royals at all or anything like that?
No, we didn't talk. I don't talk. I try not to talk too much Chiefs with Sterling, well, at least on the podcast, just because we'll waste 10 minutes talking about the Chiefs, and that's not what we were there to do. So
Yeah. I think that's totally fair. Last one I'm going to go with. I totally forgot that he went here, but it's going to be huge. I love the Buffalo Bills getting defensive tackle Deion Walker out of Kentucky. That guy just blew stuff up. That guy is just an absolute disruptor. Any guy that plays in the front seven at Kentucky defensively under Mark Stoops, like they're ready to go.
Mhm.
And I think the Bills need a guy in there who's just a bull in a china shop, getting Sean McDermott fired up as opposed to being an absolute coward of the postseason. That's why the Bills don't win.
Dude, Sean McDermott, I'll guarantee this. There's going to be a big like run stuff on like 4th and 1 that Deion Walker like makes happen for the Bills, and he's going to run over the sideline, and Sean McDermott's just going to go over there and start playing the bongos on that belly because that's a big man, and he's going to like that's going to be a celebration that happens in Buffalo this year.
Yes, like Deion Walker at Kentucky, like even when Kentucky wasn't good, he's still out there playing out of his mind. And he was doing this against like really good offensive lines like Georgia, Ole
Yeah.
Miss, pretty much anybody of note in the SEC. It didn't matter. The problem is you have Brock Vandagriff throw the football for you.
Sometimes that'll set you behind the eight ball just a little bit.
Just a little bit, and we're gonna be logging off here in just a little bit, but for the time being, we're gonna celebrate some Sad Boy Summer with some Jalen with the National. 4th of July with a glass of Merlot and just some really dulcet tones from the baritone Matt Berringer.
That's right, baby. It's the only way to do it. It's the only way I know to celebrate freedom.
So when did you start getting into the National? When's your first time like you listened to them, if you can remember?
It was like right after college. So like 20 like late 2013, early 2014, like around then. Was trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do with my life, and the National really hits when you're in that time of your life. So yeah, got real into them at that point.
I think a High Violet came out when I was like sophomore or junior. I saw it like in a record shop. Like, oh, this is like the number one thing out here. I'm like, let's just check this out. And then I think I eventually bought Boxer, and then I downloaded Trouble Will Find Me, and then that's really the only three albums that I know. But I listened to like those three albums all the time.
Dude, I mean, if you're like, I think one of the things that stands out to me about the National, and like just as this is like a pure vibes conversation, but like ostensibly most of their music is very depressing. Like, and I
Yeah,
understand that. At the same time, it doesn't make me feel bad, if that
no,
makes sense. Like, it's it's a it's not an uplifting, depressing or anything like that, but like I listen to it and I feel comforted almost by it. And I think like that's like the magic that they create.
Yeah, it's really soothing. Like the guitar is just kind of noise. Like I don't even really know if there's like
There's no
riffs or
notes.
anything.
There's no notes.
I was thinking about this. It's like a less wussy version of Death Cab.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Like we're not following anyone into the dark here. Soul's not meeting body. But speaking of, we should probably do Death Cab. Or did we do Death Cab? We
If you
might have
can't
done it.
find, no, I don't know if we did Crooked Teeth because at some point, like that's my favorite song by them.
That's a
So
great song. I'm a big marching bands of Manhattan guy. That's a
okay,
good Death Cab song.
that's a good Death Cab. Death Cat for Kitty. Why can't that cat hear?
Well, I don't know, man.
Uh, I don't know, man. But we're gonna start with "Mistaken for Strangers." Who gets mistaken for strangers by their own friends?
Oh, that's Lincoln Riley, man. Because like when I like Mistaken for Strangers to me is a little bit of a song about like leaving your younger years and becoming an adult. And I feel like that's kind of what we're seeing with Lincoln Riley. Like he was the wonder kid at Oklahoma. Like he was the guy who Bob Stoops like handed the program and like could do no wrong. And now he's reaching adulthood, and that's all changing. Like he can do a whole hell of a lot of wrong. We're finding out at USC. And so I told you I had a few that were serious and a few that were not. This is one of the serious ones. Like I feel like Lincoln Riley is really struggling with that transition into adulthood.
I've got Lincoln Riley coming up in a little bit, so
Hell
just be
yeah.
ready. A guy who gets mistaken for strangers by his own friends, that's Dave Clawson.
That's true. It's true. No one knows what he looks like, honestly.
No, it was Bruce Feldman. It's like I saw this guy at a conference. He knew me, but he took his hat off there because he was like the gray here, but it's brown up here. He's like, I didn't know it was Dave Clawson, and then I ran his offense to submission my kids' flag football team.
Oh God. Never change Bruce Feldman. What a legend.
Legend, dude. I usually I go through about 5 or 6 like Twitter accounts to basically help run out the show in the off season. His is one of them, and his is just all over the place. Like I'm like, I can't pull anything from this dude.
We should just do a Bruce Feldman show where we just do like his tweets that aren't about college football at all.
100%. And the other guy that I had on here, who is showered and blue blazered and fills himself with quarters, that's Joe McGuire because he's shaking babies, kissed hands, going to banquets, man. Got to pay that parking
He's
meter.
like a vending machine, straight up.
Some people invest in real estate, some people invest in stocks. Joe McGuire invests in vending machines.
And vending machines and your son. Anyway.
Who's half awake in a fake empire?
Bro, you know it's Dan Lanning. Ain't nothing real about the empire they're building in Oregon there, brother. It's all fake. It's all jerseys. It's all showmanship. What they won? They ain't won. I almost cursed right there. It was my fault. But they haven't won a thing.
That's really good. First one I've got is Lincoln Riley.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, he's just picking apples, making pies out there, and then Jen Cohen's like watching from the conferences, like our press box, like what's going on? It's like you're just doing your gay ballet on ice down there on the football field. What the hell is this? What the hell is this? We gotta run the football at USC. We don't do this, man.
That's right.
I look at that lyrics like because that's actually what it is. So I can say that on the show.
Oh no,
It's fine.
100%, 100%. Yeah, that was a quote. In case
And
anyone's trying to come for us, that was a quote.
and then Sharon Moore, he's half awake in his fake empire. He doesn't know it's his team yet.
He's still there. He goes into Jim Harbaugh's office and talks to him every day.
Jim, can I go to the bathroom? He just doesn't show up.
He's like dancing around at practice just because he's got to pee.
Are you okay, coach? You're looking septic.
Haven't pissed in 6 days, but yeah, we're fine.
Pass some more kidney stones than Paul Feinbaum, I'll tell you that much. I swear, every sad boy summer, that's Paul Feinbaum's summer.
Yeah, Paul Feinbaum for sure loves the National. I can guarantee you.
No, he's brainy. That's brainy.
Yeah, 100%.
Blood Buzz, Ohio. Who do you got for that one?
Matt Patricia, brother. Like this song is about like being like a little bum that you're back in Ohio, being stung by something that you're back in Ohio. Yeah. If you're Matt Patricia, you're probably like looking around in Columbus, Ohio, like, where the hell did I go wrong in my life? I used to be winning Super Bowls, and here I am.
Stand up straight to the foot of your bed.
Yeah, man. Like, God Almighty.
Man. So, first one I've got here. So basically, the song's about like, reminiscing about because the Devendorfs and Matt Berringer from Cincinnati. I think the Dessners are from New York.
Mhm.
So I think they met at UC. And then I think Matt Berringer is saying like, it's like drunkenly remembering like being fond of Ohio. He's like, I don't actually have any good memories from Ohio.
Yeah.
And first guy in here, I've got Senator Tommy Tuberville with "Go Home and Get a Job." You were not ready for this at all.
I didn't think Tommy Boy was coming up this episode. That's for sure. Holy hell.
And and the other one where it says, I still owe money to the money to the money to the money that I owe. This is a deep cut here. You know, industry friend of the industry, Chris Marler with the SDS podcast.
Yes,
He
sir.
uh he had Mark Stoops on the show one time. It's like, I want you to like tell me how to like if you weren't gonna do this, you were gonna be doing sales, right? So yes. So sell me this bank. Like, put your money in this bank.
Put your money in this. Love that.
And also, he's also from Ohio, and I don't remember him. He remembers.
Yeah, who does?
Oh my gosh, I am having a hard time with like just one no monitor today. So bear with me. And
It'd be like that.
so who and whose sister lives in a lemon world?
Brian Kelly's sister lives in a lemon world, man. Like you left for greener pastures. And like to me, that's what this song's about. You left for greener pastures and like everyone else kind of is in somewhere else that they're happier. And I can't imagine that Brian leaving New York City, I believe, is specifically what the song was written about. And, as a Northeast guy who's trying to, eat his shrimp poor boys down in Louisiana, I feel like Brian Kelly has a lot of regret about leaving Notre Dame because Notre Dame is in a much healthier spot than you are right now, brother.
100%. I totally agree with that. He always looks like he ate a bunch of lemons. So he's like, this is too
That
sour for me.
too. That too.
So for the line, I gave my heart to the Army, the only sentimental thing I could think of. He didn't give his heart to the Army. He gave it to the Navy. That's Ken Nui Matalolo.
Hell
And
yeah.
you're living in a living world now, coaching the San Jose State Spartans with the geese off your grass with the Coyotes.
I mean, it's the best thing he's done at San Jose State to this point.
Welcome to Ken Ann's Wonder Emporium, where we sell all sorts of lawn ornaments.
Oh
That's
my God. That's graphic design is my passion if I've ever heard it.
I remember like with the guys from like Greta Van Fleet were saying like Christmas worlds in like Frankenmuth, Michigan.
Oh
Like that's
yeah.
like the big thing. He's like, yeah, it was pretty weird growing up with that.
Dude, in the I don't think it's still open, but in the mountains, North Carolina, Maggie Valley, which I know you haven't heard of because no one in their right mind has heard of Maggie Valley unless you're from there. And
I have heard of it.
hell yeah, love that. Well, there used to be a Santa World, which was like a Christmas World knockoff in the BFE North Carolina mountains.
I just know that like they had a roller coaster. It's like you're gonna ride this ride. It's gonna shoot you off a cliff and you might die.
Whatever happens, happens. It's part of the thrill.
It's all about living and everything. And then obviously the other one I had for Kirk and Brian Ferentz. They're living in a living world.
I heard Brian's living in the hospital, but whatever.
It's, there needs to be a 30 for 30 about the Ferentzes.
There really does. It's either going to be like the most like watching paint dry or the most fascinating thing you've ever seen. Because like I really want to know what makes that family tick.
Um,
Defense, not definitely not scoring points. That's for sure.
Hair product, maybe. I don't know. That's bad. And then, so we've on the second to last one of these we got here with some "I Should Live in Salt" off of "Trouble Will Find Me."
Phenomenal song, one of my favorites. Probably top three for me. But I should live in salt. Rich Rod, man. Like
Yes.
things did not go well once you left West Virginia. So here we are. Like you're just basically tucking your tail between your legs and being like, I should live in salt for leaving you. Yeah.
That was my number one too. So that's why I always do wrap ups here. So for the line here, "Don't make me read your mind. You should know better. You should know me better than that." That's Nick Saban talking to Pat McAfee on the on the game day. Don't make me read your mind. You should know better than that.
That's right.
And then your big submission here for a song that I don't think I've ever listened to, but I'll listen to it after the show. The System Only Dreams in Total Darkness. Who is that?
That's Brent Venables, baby. All night you're talking to God, like you left the godly man, you left the godly program with the God's name, image, and likeness at Clemson, and can't explain it, but like it's not gone well at Oklahoma, to say the least, and I feel like he's searching for some answers, which is a lot of what this song is about.
So, based on strictly the title, I went with Air Raid legend Hal Mummy because, like, how do you explain the Air Raid to me? It's all about taking over space and the system only dreams in total darkness.
That's right.
And for the first line of the song here, maybe I listen more than you think. That would be the man who loves to hear the sound of his own voice more than so than me. That'd be Shane Beamer.
Dude, absolutely. The front runner extraordinaire.
The front runner extraordinaire. This was episode 188 of False Start. You can follow me, John Buhler, on Twitter at the X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at the Sizzle20. You can follow the show at CFB False Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, review on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. 5 stars, just like the amount of members of the National.
That's right. Yeah, 100%. Fits perfectly today.
They only have, but the weird part is like they only have 6 parents there because there's 2 sets of brothers.
That's right.
Yeah. Smash the subscribe button like Brian Devendorf on the Toms, and hit that like button like well, I think Aaron Dessner is the guy who works with T Swift.
There we go. Yes, 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 yes.
What do Travis Kelce thinks about him? Who's this little guy?
Honestly, like, would it surprise you if the only Taylor Swift song Travis Kelce had heard prior to dating was the Alcott featuring Taylor Swift?
He probably refuses to say that, like that Romeo Take Me song is like it's like that's somebody else, right?
No, that's her. Romeo, take me somewhere we can be alone, brother.
No,
Don't get me
no,
in the old T Swift catalog. I don't know any of this new stuff, but like you talk about country Taylor Swift, I got some.
no.
I've got a catalog.
No, I know it is. Also, it's like Richie singing the song "Sad in His Car" to the bear.
Yes, correct.
I guess I'll finish this. Like Travis Kelce's the type of guy that like he seems like the kind of guy that like says the wrong name for his favorite song. He's like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
can't stop believing that's my favorite song.
dying on a prayer. Big fan.
uh, uh, let's have some pink elephants, man. Let's get out of here.
Let's do it, man.
Travis Kelce, you and your brother live in a living world, and this is false start.